Childhood obesity has become a global health threat. The consequences are dire, but now health advocates have a world champion in their corner in the fight against childhood obesity and juvenile diabetes. I'm Mike Walder in Los Angeles. Let's take it full frame. Much of the world knows him as one of the most iconic American sports figures of our time, a world-class boxing champion, an Olympic gold medalist, and the first boxer ever to win titles in 5 different weight classes. Pretty amazing. These days, Sugar Ray Leonard is retired, but he's still fighting the good fight. Now he's raising funds for research and awareness towards a cure for juvenile diabetes through the foundation he and his wife, Bernadette, founded back in 2009. He's bringing the same winning spirit he displayed in the boxing ring to his fight against this disease. Sugar Ray Leonard, I want to welcome you to Full Frame. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you, Mike. How you doing, man?
Great. So tell us the story, because it's almost something that happens accidentally. Your brother Roger figures into your efforts to become a boxer, I've heard.
Well, you know, when I think about my career, which has not been short of illustrious because of my era and because of, you know, free network television back in the day, that it all started because my brother Roger would punch me or beat me up just because I was there. I mean, there was no apparent reason why he would punch on me. And because I was such a quiet kid, reserved kid, that one day he invited me to the gym, to the boxing gym. I went there and I was 14 years of age, put the gloves on, and all of a sudden, it was like I found boxing, boxing found me, or we found each other. And that's where it all started. It started in Palmer Park, Maryland.
And so then you became Sugar Ray and he became Scared Roger?
The Scared Roger.
I mean, he created a Frankenstein in a way. I mean...
He did. Actually, he did. And the fact that I'm so opposite of what I've been able to accomplish in the ring. I'm so different than that because I am, first of all, I'm non-confrontational. I'm very quiet, reserved, and all those other factors. But in the ring, I felt in control, and I was dominant, and I was pretty tough.
So you win the gold medal, you win all these titles. Is there one fight or one victory that stands out, or one title or award that means more to you?
I can say without hesitation that winning the gold medal in 1976, Montreal against Alvaro Sardamas, who was a Cuban fighter, winning that gold medal, that was priceless to me. That had more significance, especially as I get older, because I think about it, because it was what I trained so hard to become, an Olympic gold medal winner. Because winning that gold medal for my country and for myself was the proudest moment of my life.
It's amazing. But there has to be a point, I think, in your career where maybe you enter the ring and you think, geez, I wish I was an accountant, where maybe it was a bad night, and because it's a tough way to make a living. I mean, if you're not on top of your game, the results are right there. I mean, aren't they?
You are so right. But also, as a fighter, I knew in the dressing room if I was going to win or lose.
Why? What would happen?
I also believe in biorhythms. I would look into that mirror before going out into the ring. And if I saw Sugar Ray Leonard, I'm okay. I'm going to win the fight. But if I see Ray Leonard, the civilian, it's going to be a long night. It's not going to be a pretty night. There are times that I'm able to look into that mirror and see a winner, because everything is in place. All the stars have lined up. I've put in all the training, and my mental stability is solid. My spiritual stability is solid. That's when I walk out there as a winner. But there are those moments where I wish I could have postponed the fight for at least 24 hours.
But I think in life, it's interesting. We have our successes, but we also have the times where we fall down, the failures. But in many cases, we can learn a lot more about ourselves and about life through the failures. And you've had some tough times as well. What did overcoming that type of adversity teach you about Sugar Ray Leonard?
I do motivational speaking around the world, and I talk about being a fighter, because we're all fighters to a large degree. Outside the boxing ring, we get knocked down. We need a great corner. We got to do our version of road work, which is due diligence and what have you. You got to believe in ourselves when no one else does. Determination, all those, the same principles that I applied to become a world champion are applicable in everyday life. But I was able to pick myself up. My bouts with alcohol, because I'm an alcoholic, with drugs, sexually abused as a young teenager. All those things I faced, but I suppressed them. I kept them inside. I didn't want to talk about those things because it would show signs of weakness, because there's a stigma to everything, to sexual child abuse, to being an alcoholic, to being not a great father or parent or what have you. I tell people to get up, to speak out. Using those same principles that made me into the fighter I was, helps out tremendously.
But you've touched so many lives by being so honest about these things, too. I mean, you must know that. People must come up and talk to you about this all the time.
When I made the revelations about being sexually abused as a kid, as a teenager, I've received so many letters from people all over the world. I've been approached by random individuals, adults, young people, who simply say nothing but embrace me, share a tear, and say thank you. That to me is priceless. Of being a human being, of being a father, being a husband, of being a friend, for what I've been able to give back to the world, if you will, means so much more to me than when I did this.
But now you've got another fight. In 2009, you started the foundation, juvenile diabetes. It's a huge problem. Have you seen strides made in the 5 years since you started?
I got involved with juvenile diabetes research because even back in the 70s, when I turned professional, I would go to elementary schools and hospitals, and it was always about the kids for me. I always want to give them a sense of hope, a confidence, a confidence builder. But I noticed that there were so many kids that I had a chance to meet that were not in great health, that were diabetic. My dad is a diabetic, and although he's 91, he's still a diabetic. Right. My friends, their kids are type 1 diabetics. And my wife and I started this foundation to raise awareness and raise funds that would go towards research. But we as a country, we as individuals must all come together to stop this pandemic.
You were talking a little bit about diet, but one of the things that I'm sure you see, I mean, I can remember as a kid, you know, my mom would say, go out and play. You got to get outside. Yes, and now there's so many devices and everything. And you went to the gym. I think that kids seem so much more sedentary today. Any advice you give to parents about, you know, and you know, obviously diet's a big component of this, but, you know, exercises as well.
Exercise, without question, is medicine. It really is. It's medicine. And I see our kids, more so now, I see my teenagers who are constantly on the computer or texting each other, and everything now is more laid back, and they rather stay inside than go outside to recess and run around because they have so many unfortunate opportunities to not go outside.
So as a parent, I mean, any advice you give to other parents? What do you do with the kids? I'm taking the devices away, or how do you get them inspired?
Have them call me, or I should call them. I'm looking for suggestions too, because I'm I'm a parent, and it's not easy. It's not easy, you know. Um, Kids need to follow the image of their parents, you know. Um, but you have to start that young. You have to start at a very young age to keep kids going outside and playing and being, you know, be outside. Be outside.
You know, one of the exports from the United States is obesity. I mean, we're seeing childhood obesity in other countries. Mexico's got a huge problem with it. Is there anything out there on the horizon that gives you hope that perhaps this is something we can tackle and bring under control?
I am an optimist, you know, first and foremost, and I think that we just have to encourage our kids to get out there and play and take advantage of that youth and that energy and enjoy themselves. Yes, I mean that's basically all I can say about that, because it's a tough nut to crack.
You say you're an optimist. When do you think we can turn the corner on juvenile diabetes?
Oh, we're starting to turn the corner now. I mean, there's been numerous devices that's been made to minimize the pain and agony and the discomfort of so many kids who are diabetic. But we just got to keep moving. We just got to, you know, be outside and enjoy running, enjoy bike riding, and enjoy just being outdoors, working the body, breaking a sweat.
You know, you say keep moving. One of the things that's interesting, I think, intriguing about your career, and I'm sure you've gotten a lot of grief about it, is I don't think anybody's retired as much as you have. I mean, you would retire and then you come back in, and was it just that you loved it so much it was tough to take a step back from it, or?
You know, Mike, I came back those times, which was a lot of times. In fact, I forgot how many times. How many times were I come back?
I think at least 4 or 5. Right?
No, more than that. Get a calculator. I came back because I felt safer in the ring because of what I was dealing with at the time, whether it was the sexual child abuse or just not wanting to be an alcoholic. All the things that all the obstacles I was dealing with would go away when I went back into the ring, because I was being productive. I was working out, and I was fighting in the 4 squares that I could control. But at some point, you know, especially you get 35, 30, you get 40, you don't have the same desire, the same drive to be productive.
Okay, you mentioned desire, and if there's one thing that I definitely don't have, it's desire to get into the gym and work out every day. It's like you are in great shape. How do you? I mean, what's your regimen like?
Listen, I hate it too. I enjoy working out because of the way I feel afterwards. I'm ready to go to work. I'm ready to go to the office and everything else because I'm sweating and I feel great, and I can eat those French fries now. But for me, it's therapy. It's therapy for me. But if I work out in the morning, and people say, well, I don't have time to work out. You do have time to work out. Give yourself a half an hour, and don't do much. Just do enough. Especially as we get older. I'm 50. I'll be 58 in May. I listen to my body a lot more now. Sometimes I procrastinate. I am no different than you are. You know.
58, you look like you're 38. I have to ask 2 more questions, quick ones, because we're just about out of time. One of them's from the producer, because I know you're a boxer. I don't want to take a hit for this one, but she said, have you thought about changing your name to No More Sugar, Ray Leonard, you know, because of the diabetes thing? No more sugar.
No more sugar. Sugar is what brings awareness to this pandemic. Sugar Ray is what people would stop for a second to hear. I have to use that to make that change in people's lives.
All right. And do you think maybe I could go a round or 2 with you? Any chance?
The way you did your hands just now, don't ever do that.
I knew that was going to be the response. I'll work on my form. Sugar Ray Leonard, just a delight. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Coming up, we'll take a closer look at the causes and innovative solutions to the growing problem of childhood obesity.